From ContainerDays Hamburg, this video is proudly presented by Dux IT.
So yeah, I'll talk about Calico Whisker today and a little bit of what Calico does and how it can help you troubleshoot some network issues. So very small introduction about me, the company, and the solutions. Then we touch base on some security observability struggles, some challenges, what Calico network policies are, very high level, then Calico Whisker, and then we'll do the demo. The majority of the presentation is going to be the demo itself, so I would expect 7 to 10 minutes for the theory and the rest for the demo. So first of all, thank you for all the feedback that I received from you in these 3 days. So it was amazing talking with you. I already recognize some faces, so thanks again for the feedback. And yeah, my name is Davide Sellitri. I'm a customer success engineer in Tigera. Tigera is the creator and maintainer of Calico. And Calico comes in 3 flavors: open source, enterprise, and Calico Cloud. And I have 2 cats. So a lot of numbers here. Sorry about that. I need to make marketing happy. What we see here is that Calico is the most adopted CNI. CNI is a container network. The interface is basically what allows your pods to send and receive traffic. So if you want to compare with the traditional infrastructure, it would be basically the cabling and the routers that allow your laptop to allow you to watch sports on your laptop during working hours. And what we have here, basically Calico open source, it is fast and it is scalable. If you want to know more about this, please reach out to me. We provide, we enhance Kubernetes network policies, so we can do whatever a standard Kubernetes network policy can do, but we add more features there. It provides encryption. It works with any data plane, so IP tables, NF tables, or eBPF. And it works on bare metal, VMs, and managed clusters as well. All right. So I asked ChatGPT to provide me a picture of this sentence, and this is what I got. I mean, I could have done anything better, so I'll stick to it. So yeah, this will be the topic of this talk. So you can't secure what you cannot see. So this could be interpreted differently by any team. So the platform team might have an idea, the DevOps team might have another idea, security team as well. But long story short, what we have here is that network is a key in your infrastructure. So your pods are sending and receiving traffic. For different reasons, you need to allow or deny or restrict or understand what's happening, and it can be a real struggle, especially when things are not working as expected. So some common struggles are outages because of policy misconfiguration. This is really common. So you try to apply a network policy or a Calico policy. You hope that it will work as expected because you've been told that you need to allow or deny this traffic. Then you apply the policy and something breaks. You don't know why. Or maybe you need to be compliant. And to be compliant, you need to make sure that you're restricting your traffic in a way that only what is supposed to happen is allowed and everything else is denied. And again, you have no observability, or if you have, it's very little. So you may struggle with that. Or maybe your application is just misbehaving. So you expect the application to do something, but then all of a sudden it's not doing that anymore, it's doing something else. Maybe after an upgrade, maybe there was an issue, maybe a node is malfunctioning, or you are under attack, you don't know. So the first step here would be, of course, Calico network policies. I will very high level what they are. They provide you some additional features to the Kubernetes policies. So you can be very specific on what you want to restrict or allow and deny everything else by default, or you can explicitly deny something. And again, we will not have time to go through all the details about Calico network policies, but if you want to know more, please reach out. And you can be very specific, but you can also be very broad. So you can say, I need to allow this specific port, so maybe I need to allow DNS resolution. You can do it with one policy for all applications, new and old applications, and you're sorted. And of course, okay, they can protect the entire node as well if needed. But what we introduced with the latest release of Calico open source, which is 3.30, we added staged policies. So with staged policies, you'll be able to apply a policy that will not take any action, but it will tell you what the policy would have done if that was applied. This, I've received very good feedback in these days from you guys, because many teams, they just avoid creating or touching existing policies because they're afraid to break something. But with the stage policy, you can avoid the situation, you can avoid the disaster. However, on its own, it doesn't do much. You need a way to see this in action. So what we did, we introduced a new feature that allows you to see the traffic in real time. So you'll be able to see this flow going back and forth from your pods. You can observe what the policy would do before you enforce it, so before you change from stage policy to a standard Calico policy. You have some interesting filter options to restrict the number of flows that you see in this UI, and also basically be able to understand if the traffic was allowed or denied in a matter of seconds. So this feature is called Calico Whisker. This is a better picture, I think. And yeah, this shows you how it works, and we will see this in action. So it's a fully open source UI. It gives you visibility on the flows, and for each flow you have some interesting information about what policy allowed or denied the traffic, source information, destination information, that you can feed this information to your reports or whatever. Now, so the theory is done. We'll go to the demo. So good luck scanning the QR code. So I don't want to cause any eye strain lawsuit today, so I'll give you this one. So if you want, you can scan the QR code and you can do the demo with me. So I'll leave a minute to you guys. So when you scan this QR code, you basically redirected to a GitHub repo. There are instructions how you can create a cluster using Kind on your machine, some steps to deploy Calico open source, the latest version, and then the 3 demos that I'll go through right now. Okay, I think I can move on. So the first demo, I'll simulate a policy misconfiguration. So I will have the blue pod that will send some traffic to some external domains. And then I've been told to allow this HTTPS traffic. I apply the policy, something breaks. I don't know what happened. I will troubleshoot it using Whisker. Second demo, exactly the same scenario, but instead of using a Calico network policy, I will use a staged, Calico staged network policy. So nothing will break this time, but we'll just see how the flow will change. So the information in Calico Whisker will change. And the third demo, I'm going to simulate a supply chain attack where I upgrade my application, and my application starts misbehaving, is doing something that was not doing before. And thanks to the policy, the traffic was denied, but also thanks to Calico Whisker, I'll be able to see this in a few seconds rather than spending hours on trying to understand what happened. So I'll go to the demo now. So what we have here, so the windows, these are my notes, so I didn't know there was this screen here. So I'll basically send this traffic to see these demos in actions. This is my cluster. These are the pods that I will use, so blue pod, green pod, and then my app. And then on the left, I'm just doing a port forwarding to see Calico Whisker on a window. So as a first step, I'm going to send some call request from the blue pod to www.tigera.io. Right now, there are no policies, there's nothing, so I will expect the traffic to work. And it does. So HTTP 200 means happy days. Then what I'll do, because I've been told that I need to allow HTTPS traffic, I will apply this policy here. So we will review this policy very quickly. It's Project Calico. It's a network policy. It is scoping this pod. The scope means this policy will affect traffic from the blue pod. And here I'm allowing egress traffic, so traffic that leaves the pod and goes to TCP port 443. So what I'll do now, I'll verify the connection again. So I'll try to connect to one of the 3 domains that I've been told that I should be able to connect. But then it doesn't work. It times out. Can anyone guess what happened? One at a time. Exactly. Right. So, of course, this is a very simple scenario, right? But imagine where the application is sending multiple traffic at the same time. That could be HTTPS, that could be port 8080, it could be port 80. But you haven't been told the full story. You allow half of it, and then the rest of the half is going to be denied. So what we can do, we can go to Calico Whisker, and very quickly you can already see that there is a deny there. Deny is red is bad, and you know that what the problem is. So when you go here and you see deny, okay, that's why maybe my application is not working. It's blue, yeah, that's exactly my application, and the connection is against the core DNS and this UDP 53. So imagine a scenario where you don't see this, you start troubleshooting, you have no idea. The first thing that you will do, you will delete the policy, but then you don't have logs, so you're gonna run TCP dump. Chances are you don't have direct access to the node. It's gonna take a long time. While with Calico Whisker, it will take just a few seconds. And if you have multiple policies, you need to know exactly the policies that block this traffic. You can expand the flow. I prefer JSON. And I'll look at policies, what has been enforced, so standard network policies. And when I expand this, the trigger I see is the blue up policy, which is the policy that I just applied. So the next step is say, okay, probably need to add DNS resolution to the existing policy. And this is what we are going to do now. So I'm not doing anything crazy here. What I'm doing, I'm just adding the port 53 for UDP and TCP. TCP might not be needed, but I'll put it there anyway. So it's the same policy as before. I've just added this additional part. And then as a next step, I will verify the connection again. And it works. So we can go back to the Calico Whisker, get new flows in real time. I can filter by the source if I need to do that. And now I can see that my DNS traffic is allowed. So this would be the first one. Second demo, exactly the same. What I'll do instead, I'll use a stage policy. So I'll use a different application, which is the green pod. These are very simple pods. They are Nginx images. Happy days, HTTP 200, so the connection went through. And then I'll apply my policy. It's exactly the same scenario as before, so nothing has changed. The only thing that has changed is the kind, so the CRD for this policy, which is staged network policy. So I apply the policy. I verify the connection again. So just to touch base on that, I'm sending a call request from green to https tigera.io. HTTP 300 means redirection, but this is coming from the server, so that means that connection is going through. And what I can do now, I review what happened. So I've applied my stage policy. I want to know if the stage policy was good enough. So I can filter by the namespace in this time. And I see I've been told that this pod would have done HTTPS only, so TCP 443, but instead I see the DNS. And again, this is just a simple example, but you may see more traffic coming in here. And then before you enforce this policy, the idea is that you go to the team that developed the application and say, okay, I see more traffic here. Is this expected? It is not. Do I need to edit the policy? And you get the answer, and chances are you need to edit the policy. So we added the stage policy in this case. But before I do that, you can also review if the stage policy would have denied the traffic or not. And let me get the right one. And you can see that the stage policy, which they will go in pending, you would have denied the traffic. Now, we actually, from previous presentations, we received some feedback where attendees asked us to have this action for stage policy clearer in the first page, so it will be easier to find this information in the next release. So it is coming. And again, so we apply the stage policy. Of course, the new traffic is not going to be denied by any staged policy. And then after this is done, you can verify again, just to be sure. The traffic is allowed. Then you come back to Whisker if you want, review the policy again, review the actions. Then when you go back, you can enforce this policy. And the way that you do that, you just replace the stage policy with a standard Calico network policy. And that's it. You don't need to do anything else. So the third demo that I want to share and show you, so let's just touch base on that again. I have this application where the front end can talk to the back end, and the back end can talk to the database, but the front end should never be able to talk to the database directly. So this has been a requirement from the application team, or maybe from the security team. So what I do, I just make sure that the application is functioning as expected. And to show you this, I will just restart the front end app. Okay, then I can go to Whisker and just verify what's happening there. Let's wait a few seconds. So all the filter options that you have, you can filter by policy, you can filter by source, or you can filter by destination and port. And we are adding more features here. So what I see here is that my front end is doing some DNS resolution, very expected. You will see this all the time. But also I see that the front end is talking to the back end. Happy days, this is exactly what the application should have done. I can apply my policy now. This is a very similar policy to what we did in the demo one, and where I'm allowing basically, in this case, port 80 and port 53. But this time I specified the destination as run backend, which is a label that my backend app has. I can verify that the front end is not having any trouble, so I will start my front end, and I can wait for new flows. This could take a second. And I see they are all allowed. So happy days, the application is still sending traffic to backend, everything is working as expected. So now the simulation is that I've been told by the application team that there is a new version of my front-end app, and I need to do the upgrade. So I'll do the upgrade, and to simulate this, I'm launching a command, but chances are you have this in a pipeline. And I'm replacing the image of my deployment, front-end deployment, to version 2. So, and then I can watch what the pod does, but we can already see there on the bottom of the screen. And if we watch the application, we see that all of a sudden it will start returning some errors. So you don't know what's happening here. You don't have Whisker. You say, okay, what did I do wrong? I just upgraded the application. You suspect the application is broken. And this could take a bunch of hours if you're not familiar with this. But if you have Calico Whisker, you can already see some denies very quickly. But most importantly, what you see is that your front-end app is actually trying to connect to the database. So the Calico network policy is protecting you from this attack, while Whisker can allow you to see this in action and report this to the dedicated team to fix the application, or maybe I understand why the application is generating this new traffic. And again, you can expand this flow and see the policy that actually denied the traffic. Now, if you want to go a little bit further, what you can do, you can also connect your cluster to a Calico Cloud free tier. It's a free solution, and it's going to be free forever. You can add one cluster, and you have a different UI, with a better feature that is called Service Graph, where you can see this traffic in action, but you can also review your policies. And I'm going to show this to you right now. Let's see. So this is the my Calico Cloud free tier, which is a cloud solution. The way that it works, you get a command when you try to connect your cluster here. You apply that command to your cluster, and you directly have access in a matter of a few seconds. And what I see very quickly, you will see some green lines, some red arrows. You normal people can see it. I'm colorblind, so I don't see the red lines. But there's a different story. And yeah, you can quickly see that something is happening here, and you can troubleshoot this further if you want. So you can expand these windows to get more details about the flow and do some troubleshooting. Or you can also review your policies. So in Calico open source, before the latest, you had only one tier, the default tier, so all the policies went there. But now with Calico, the latest Calico open source, you also have a concept of tiers. Now we don't have time to cover that, but if you're interested, I can show you how you can logically structure your policy, maybe to divide your policy by namespace, or maybe by team. So please reach out to me later if you want. Any questions?
Does Whisker also work with networking CRD network policies, like the default one and not the Calico one?
Yes, it does.
Will there be an ingress object for Whisker when installing Tigera operator via Helm in the future?
Oh, in the future. Well, that's a very good question. That could be. We added Calico Ingress Gateway, which is based on Envoy Gateway. It's already available. I think right now it's in tech preview. It's available in open source. So I think you'll be able just to use that. So instead of Ingress, probably we might deploy or give you an example on how you can leverage Gateway API instead.
Does Calico provide cluster-wide policies?
Yes. So a very common scenario would be a DNS policy. So what you have right now with standard Kubernetes policies is that every time there is a new application coming in or that you install, you need to allow DNS. What you can do, you can create a DNS policy. We call it DNS policy. You can call, Paolo, where you allow the DNS traffic in inbound and outbound, and it's actually the feature is called global. In this specific case, would be in all namespaces. And then when you deploy a new application, this policy will automatically apply to these pods, and you will not need to allow DNS again. But this could be done for other traffic if you want. So, for example, you've been told that you need to deny a specific port. You can do this globally with one policy, and you don't need to care about new application coming in your cluster.
Is there a Whisker mode to visualize the impact of a network policy? And is there a mode to dry run, build, develop network policies?
So yes. So I think I answered to this question, but yes, when you expand the individual flow in Whisker, you can drill down and see which policy allowed or denied the traffic, and same thing for the staged policy. So the staged policy will be able to show you what the policy would have done if it was enforced.
Are the flow logs persisted or just in RAM? Is there a way to export logs for archiving?
That's a very good question. I don't think these flows are saved anywhere. I think they are created on the fly, I'm pretty sure. And about the second question, so the way that it works, you have an additional component that is called Goldmain. Goldmain is actually it's generating this flow logs, and then if you configure you're free to configure Goldmain to ship these logs somewhere else if you want. So yes, it's possible.
Does it work only on a single cluster, or can you also block, allow, and visual it between multiple clusters?
That's a very, very good question. So with Enterprise, you can manage multiple clusters at the same time, and you can restrict the traffic that leaves and goes to the other cluster. The traffic that goes from among your clusters. You can also have the concept of cluster mesh, where you have a service with endpoints, so with pods and backend points on different clusters at the same time. And Calico is able to create a network to allow the traffic to go in a cluster or the other if, I don't know, if maybe one pod is not spinning up. And yes, you'll be able to visualize that. So if you have MCM, so multiple cluster management, you'll be able to see the service graph for individual clusters. There are some features coming where you'll be able to see these clusters at the same time, for example, 2 or 3 clusters at the same time, and see how the traffic will go among them.
So we have answered the 2 first questions. That's cool. Do you have Helm charts for installing Calico and Whisker?
Yes. So yeah, it's in the documentation. Yes.
Is there a way to rename destinations like public network, or like create destination objects to refer in a different policies?
That's a very specific question.
Yeah.
So you have the concept of network sets. Network sets in open source can only be a pool of IP addresses. And what happens is that when you use this pool, instead of seeing public network, you will see the name of the network set. While in enterprise, you can also add domains there. And of course, you can add a mix of them, so IP addresses and domains. When you go to service graph, and if there is any traffic hitting this network set, you will see the name of the network set instead of public network.
Not a question, but I think more a remark. I would have expected that the staged policy could be set to production mode or something like that instead of deleting and recreating. So yeah, kind of dry run and disable policies without deleting.
Yeah, it's actually a good feedback. I accept that, and I'll share the feedback with the dedicated team. I think the idea is that there are two separate CRDs, so they are two separate resources altogether. So that's why you may need to delete one. You can actually keep the stage policy. It's not going to affect the traffic anyway. But yes, it's a good feedback. Thank you.
3 last questions, at least so far. Can we enrich the Whisker logs by, for example, AWS VPC flow logs to retrieve better visibility of the full infrastructure communicating with our pods?
Yeah, you are a visionary. So what you can do, so you can configure Goldbane to maybe send these flows to a stack that you already have for your flows. And so there, probably you're already doing something like that. You can just add our flow logs.
Does Whisker have a REST API?
It's Goldbane. So yeah.
And the last question, let me highlight it. How complex is pipeline creation for data scientists? What this is? This should not be here, I guess. I think someone has messed up with the...
You want to break me, though.
Yeah. So you're an email engineer. Yeah, we know that. All right, that's life. Yeah. It happens.
We're under attack.
Anyway, we have a couple of minutes left. Is there any question in the audience?
So I actually have a question for you. So you can answer this question now if you want, or maybe you can reach out to me. And actually I have another slide, please. There you go. So I created this Google form. I would appreciate your feedback about the presentation, about Project Calico, about cats, but also there are some questions that I would like to know. So I would like to know what are the main struggles for you right now in Kubernetes. So if you can think about the main struggle that you have, I would like to talk about that. I'm not trying to sell anything, but I would like to have a proper feedback and discussion about this problem and see if in the future we'll be able to address it. So you can fill out the form and answer to these questions, or if you want, please reach out directly to me. I'll stick around for a more while, and yeah, see you soon.
Which reminds me that it is very important for us that you rate the session via the CDS app. So if you haven't yet rated some of the session you have seen, please do it as fast as possible. Davide, thanks a lot for this great talk. A round of applause for our speaker, please.
From ContainerDays Hamburg, this video is proudly presented by DAX IT.